Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. I just got done with episode 1 of the WWE UNREAL show. I apologize if these have actual names to the episodes. I did not catch the first one. I was so anxious to put this show on. Is kind of what I've been thinking about all day since I really got excited about it. 2 weeks ago, during Monday Night Raw, they showed a commercial for the show during Netflix. I kind of took it as the way WWE pictured that the show they wanted it to be. And it was a very, very scripted version of backstage when they sent out the speed guy at the Royal Rumble. And I made a quick video during my Raw review basically saying, like, I think this show's going to stink. This show is going to be awesome. The first episode alone sells me that I think this is going to be a side of the wrestling business that I really, really want to see, and I really, really want to know more. I am not a current subscriber to the Wrestling Observer, but during the time that I did pay for Brian and Dave, I really liked Dave's insight on the wrestling business. And from 2016 to roughly 2020, the one thing that I cared more about in wrestling was the actual wrestling business behind the show more than anything else. The stories you hear from the wrestlers, from listening to the interviews through podcasts about what the original plan for something was to be, like why something didn't happen, why this guy won a match, why that guy didn't win a match. This show right here is like what I needed at those times to really get. Now, I'm not going to tell you that like they're going to give us everything. Like, I'm going to tell you, like, if there was a fight backstage, more than likely they're not going to show it on the show. They're going to edit some stuff out to protect their interests. But from the looks of things and from the very beginning of the episode, when they put the title up on the screen that it's a Netflix sports documentary, I don't know if WWE had anything to do with this show. I think that they granted Netflix team to go in and shoot this documentary, and whatever came out, came out. I know that they didn't love the Vince McMahon documentary, which was the very entry into their working relationship. But I can honestly see Season 2 of WWE UNREAL. My thoughts on this show going into it, it looks like it is going to cover WWE from the Netflix debut at the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles, the big show that they had with Rock showing up, being in the opening two segments, the Roman versus Solo, Punk versus Rollins, Rhea versus Liv. John Cena made an appearance, kicking off his last year in WWE. That was a huge show. Netflix getting Monday Night Raw from USA, being able to be live here on the West Coast, being able to watch commercial free as long as you don't watch it live. We've talked about this in the other Raw reviews, that doesn't make sense. But basically, like, if once it starts, you're able to start from the beginning, and when the ads are supposed to be, they just go away. Like, they're gone. Ads are only if you're live. So some people don't mind watching Raw, an hour after it starts and trying to catch up. And sometimes you can make it by the time it's all said and done. But if you have not seen this documentary, don't watch my review. Go watch this show. I'm telling you, this is going to be good. I think that they're going to hook you to where you basically want to watch the own thing. I don't have a ton of notes, so I don't. This is going to be as thorough as my Vince McMahon documentary review. But the show opened with Cody Rhodes at home, getting ready for Christmas, decorating the house. His daughter and Brandy came home from being at school, but she came home and greeted Cody that was there. And Cody was saying that, basically, do you want to decorate the house for Christmas? And right away, this becomes a wrestling documentary because Cody Rhodes pulls out a Shawn Michaels gingerbread decoration for the Christmas tree. I thought I was the only mark in town that had wrestling decorations on the Christmas tree. And because it's not only my tree, we don't put them all up. But I've got title belts. I've got Hulk Hogan. I've got various other wrestlers that I've got from WWE Shop. The big, huge glass Nexus ornament is not hung anymore, but it is in the collection still. But we see him decorating at home, and he is talking about his daughter, and his daughter, it sounds like, hasn't seen what wrestling is, but he tells his daughter that he is a wrestler. But when he's getting ready to go out on the road, his daughter has a thought that dancing is involved, and wonders if he's going to go out dancing. I don't know if maybe she's heard the terminology of, them, dancing in the ring together or something like that when they're talking about, what goes on in the ring. But it's cool to see that the guy who is the face of the company is a mark, just like me, who loves this stuff. We see Triple H in the office booking the Raw return. I wrote the Raw return to Netflix. It's the debut of Netflix, but basically, them starting the new season of WWE, which he explained was, getting the Netflix debut leading to the Royal Rumble, which starts the road to WrestleMania. The Elimination Chamber is on the road to WrestleMania. And then, of course, we have WrestleMania itself. And they're kind of talking about, like, how you feature guys, and you can't just have every guy on every show. You have to make them special. So when you see them, you know that it is a special appearance. They're having a lot of trouble with the Raw debut, finding what Cody Rhodes is going to be doing. He is the WWE champion. At that time, I can remember he was in a feud with Kevin Owens, but that was a feud that was kind of mainly focusing on SmackDown, is how they built that one. But they wanted Cody to be there. He wanted to have, be the protector of John Cena. He was thinking that maybe a whole bunch of heels come out and then try to attack John Cena, and Cody's the one who fends him off, to sort of say Cena's a good guy and Cody's there with him. They're both good guys, which would foreshadow, I don't even think they know that's what they're going to, Cody versus Cena at WrestleMania. We see Rhea Ripley at home. She lives a normal life. They don't show Buddy Murphy at all, no pictures or anything like that, but they show her office where she has a lot of weird collection of, shrunken heads and masks and a little bit kind of dark stuff, where she kind of shows where her character comes from, but they show a picture of her growing up, where, she was kind of that blonde-haired Rhea, talking about how, she got on WWE's radar to try out when she was 17, but she was too young to be signed, and they welcomed her back the next year. And, of course, she got signed, and it's been off to the races from there, and now she's one of the big-time faces of the company, which is going to be the bright future for WWE. We see John Cena, do a face-to-face interview where he's talking about he's coming back to WWE. Lots of talk about, his body breaking down, and he loves wrestling. At one point, he was paying to wrestle. He was paying to get trained. He would do this for free if he could. But his body is breaking down, and he's getting to the point where he doesn't think that he can do this forever. And he thinks that this year is the right time for him to be calling it quits. We see CM Punk. I know that CM Punk is a bright spot of the company. He's one of the biggest stars. For him to give this much access into his life is something that's going to come up in a moment. But with CM Punk was on my mom's basement with Robbie, I believe, last Wednesday, and then I think the interview came out on Monday. But one of the biggest clips was in 2018, 2019, Vince McMahon and Triple H came to CM Punk with an idea for him to come back to WWE, and basically a deal was worked out. But then CM Punk felt like they just ghosted him and just left everything on the back burner. It's crazy to think what WWE would have been through the Thunderdome era with a CM Punk running around. But Triple H felt like it was still the same guy in there. And Triple H does take a bulk of the blame. He at least takes 50%, saying that at one point, both of them were performers. And although that like Triple H was office and a performer at the same time, like Punk didn't trust him and he didn't trust Punk. But even though they got close to working out some sort of a deal for him to come out, he felt like the same problems were going to come, which is a surprise to me. The reason why CM Punk came back to WWE was because he had major problems in AEW, to the point where they just flat out released him. At one point, they like put him on the back burner, sent him home for as long as they could, but he made his return, and the problems still were there with him not getting along with the locker room and the other people that he was supposed to be working with. So that part, I don't understand how they're like, new guy. I don't know, maybe he's at the point where he knows he doesn't have anywhere else he can go to. But I think if CM Punk gets to a point where he knows that he's not getting his way and he's not getting what he wants to produce, I think that guy's still in there a little bit. But I honestly think that it is a different guy. And I think that him giving this much access into his life, even if it is, it's not scripted, but, a fake reality show, I think that's changed. CM Punk, came back to the company at Survivor Series. He calls it one of the biggest wrestling returns of all time. They're pushing towards CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, a payoff for the match that we were supposed to be getting right off the gate when Punk came back. They brought Punk back at Survivor Series. Rollins, of course, did his big flip out. Drew McIntyre walked out. And that was the two of the big stories that came from there. Rollins was going bananas, like nobody told them what was going on. Why would you bring that guy back? Rollins had been very vocal in the past about, CM Punk being a cancer to the locker room and not wanting to really deal with that. But that is the place that we're getting to, is Punk versus Rollins. Is one of the biggest matches. Punk came back. They held him off until the Rumble. Then he ended up getting injured in the Rumble. He had to take a long time off. And I think this Punk and Rollins match might have been his first match back wrestling. So that's going to be your big main event of the very first Raw on Netflix. They explain to us what the gorilla position is and what the people in the back do to keep everything running on time. They talk about all of the ex-performers that have found jobs in the gorilla position. They all have an understanding of what goes on inside of the ring, so that it's not like foreign to them. Billy Kidman is in charge of timing, a former WCW Raven's Nest guy, as well as he had his time in the WWE. Bobby Roode, a past WWE as well as TNA story wrestler. Michael Hayes is a very senior person as a producer. Spent time a lot in WCW and other NWA. Mid-South. He was down there. We have Bruce Pritchard, who kind of seems like he's the boss of everybody. And then we have Abyss from TNA, who's in charge of talking to the truck as well as to the referees. The Netflix debut comes from there. One of the big matches they have, served up is Rhea versus Liv. They were setting up for this match months ago, but Liv threw a chair at Rhea Ripley in Philadelphia, and then they fought down the hall. When Liv threw Rhea into the wall, She separated her shoulder. She ended up not wanting to have the surgery to be able to come back faster. She had to sit on the sidelines for 3 months. And in that meantime, Dom turned on her, and Liv stole basically everything that was hers. Being the championship at SummerSlam. And this was the first time that they were going to be going at it inside of the ring. It was pretty cool. As of right now, they're separating the wrestlers going over the matches. So we don't see Rhea and Liv together. They're kind of keeping that kayfabe. But then we had Rhea talking with Damian Priest before the match, telling him spot by spot. So it's kind of funny the way that, like, they're going to give us some things, but they're not going to give us other things. Rhea, of course, gets the win right there. She gets her championship back, and that's going to set up her WrestleMania storyline with her being the champion. But then, of course, we know that after Elimination Chamber, she's going to lose it to Io Sky, which opens up Io Sky and Bianca Belair in a three-way for WrestleMania as one of the big women's matches on that night. We're shown John Cena at the Monday Night Raw. We see a first sighting of The Rock as well as Brian Gewirtz backstage. That guy, I already have a bad thought about The Rock during this show. I don't know how WWE or Netflix makes him the bad guy, but I think he's going to be set up to be the bad guy in this show. At the Monday Night Raw, they weren't able to actually find Cody Rhodes a spot. If you remember, at the beginning of the show, when The Rock comes out for his opening promo about, being on Netflix and how big this show is, and it was a major change to his character. All of a sudden, he was a good guy. He thanks Cody Rhodes, sitting in the crowd. We had a major storyline with the WrestleMania before and never finished it up. They were on the Raw after WrestleMania, when The Rock kind of congratulated him, but he wanted to hold his belt for some reason, and then he handed him something in his hand. We never found out what that was, and we never got Cody versus for freaking The Rock, which was, I think, a lot of people were thinking at this time on the Raw on Netflix. I think that's what they were thinking we were getting at WrestleMania. We got Punk versus Rollins in the main event. The funny thing about it was the Abyss was, fighting with the referee, trying to get them to go home. They were over time. Bruce Pritchard explains that they're on Netflix and there's no other shows. They're not on a network like USA, and they got to get silk stockings on TV. But, there are time limits. You don't want to be going, too long. And, Abyss is trying to get them to cut things in the match. But, they're in the ring. And they're going to go out there and they're going to do their work. And they're going to, basically put up whatever they're going to do. Punk versus Rollins. Punk actually gets the win there, which was a surprise to me, because I thought the storyline with Punk and Rollins is that he had never beat him. I know that, Punk was going to beat Rollins in the steel cage match, and then Roman interfered, and that costed him. Maybe we're still playing off ending that feud with a win, maybe is what they're saying. But when the match actually ended, Abyss was apologizing to William Regal. He was apologizing to Bruce Pritchard, saying that he was trying to make him happy. Regal was trying to say, it's not your fault, dude. Put on a good show. It is what it is. Biggest things about the first episode: no Roman Reigns. I don't know if he's going to be a part of these next 4 episodes, but I'm looking forward to seeing the next ones. But WWE Unreal, episode 1, spectacular.